Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're bringing you 10 games that can be purchased for under $25 each.
I know. We heard your complaints. There are too many crowdfunding things, too many Kickstarters, too many game founds. Well, this list has none of these. These are all buy now, right now, play now.
Oh, and make sure you leave a comment down below as well. If you let us know your favorite cost-effective, available now board games, we'll also look at doing a list under $10 each, and maybe one from $25 to $50 as well.
If you like these lists that we do, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned because there's always more to come.
So I've approached my list from a sense of categories. So if you buy everything that I'm offering here, one, you'll spend more than $25, but two, you'll have a good selection of a variety of games that might fit various different play styles. Let's go ahead and dive in to number one.
And now my number one is Air, Land, and Sea and Critters at War and their expansions. You can pick each one up for about $18 to $20 online. These games are a two-player lane battling game where you're going to be playing in 3 different arenas and trying to win in consecutive rounds 2 out of the 3 arenas against your opponent. You're going to be playing down these cards, which have various strengths and powers and abilities on them, to bluff and trick your way into winning the most arenas, which will get you the points for that round. The first player to 12 points wins the entire war. And now for the next one.
Chronicles of Crime 2044 is a detective game set in a, well, cybernetic future. This is an app-driven game where you're actually going to be exploring various parts of this sci-fi world, observing the landscape around you, and finding clues that'll help lead to, well, one of many different cases you can solve. If you enjoy sitting down with your family and maybe you're bringing some gamers into the hobby space that aren't as used to playing just at the table alone, this is a fantastic integration of technology in the board game world, with a little bit of virtual reality feel to it and a ton of different pathways, storylines, and questions to ask the game itself. This is an incredible exploration for an insane price. Honestly, if you haven't played any of the Chronicle of Crime games, it's a fantastic example of how you can take a board game and bring it into the modern era. With that, let's check out number 2.
My number 2 is going to be Cerebria, the card game. And I know this one is not as popular as its big box cousin, but I like this one because it reminds me of how much fun I have playing the bigger game. In Cerebria, the card game, you're going to be playing these emotion cards from your hand into your tableau. You're trying to set, collect, and have as much identity fragments when the round ends, when the revelation is triggered. You're going to get points and win the game by either having 12 gloom or 12 bliss, or 7 and 7, creating a balance.
For solo gamers out there, this is Friday, a game all about, well, surviving in Robinson Crusoe's island, or on his island. You see, this is one of those little puzzle games that scales in challenge even once you've figured out exactly how to win. It's a lovely little sit-down, for me, late-night style game if all I want to do is try to think through how to make the most of my deck. You'll be playing through a series of cards, deciding when and how to engage in challenges, how to upgrade your own personal deck, and when to take risks, because risks are the name of the game. You need resources, you need strength, you need to upgrade your character Friday in order to survive and finally get off the island with these little boat vessels, or pirates that you're facing down as you leave with the high tide. There's lore there somewhere. But the main puzzle of Friday comes with your interaction of your own personal deck. You see, certain decisions that you make will either add cards to your deck that are good for you or slowly weaken you over time. And no decision is 100% clear or 100% guaranteed. You'll be drawing cards, checking the number that you have in the top corner against the success rate you need for each different challenge. If you succeed, it goes into the bottom of your pile and gets shuffled back in to see and help you continue surviving. If you fail, well, you'll take some damage, lose some cards, and slowly escalate endgame in the wrong direction. It's a great little solo puzzle, and one of the first solo games I was ever actually introduced to. So, I don't know. If you're curious, take a look.
My number 3 is Dog Lover, and dogs are better than cats, which is why I don't have Cat Lady over here. I don't have Cat Lady over here. In Dog Lover, you are going to be rescuing and adopting dogs, and you are going to be doing so by taking these tricks and grabbing cards from the grid in the pattern that your trick specifies. You're going to be taking those cards and placing them in front of you. The dogs you are trying to feed with the food that they want, the things you're trying to collect in set collections to score points at the end of the game, and your goal is to score the most points by creatively creating a tableau with various sized dogs and feeding them appropriately, because you lose points if the dogs go hungry. You're also able to adopt dogs from the rescue shelter and upgrade your tricks so that you're getting better cards from the grid. And now for number 4.
Gorus Maximus, a trick-taking game that plays at, well, a notably higher count than most of the games previously on this list before. Now, if you're not familiar with what trick-taking is, it's a simple card mechanic where you have cards of various different suits, and those cards have a range of numbers on them. Typically, you're playing to match a certain type of suit, and the numbers that you have beat the other smaller or lesser numbers. Now, all of these trick-taking games have some unique twist, and Gorus Maximus is no different. The trick here, however, is that you can challenge your opponents by playing a matching number, but a different suit during the course of the game, changing the winning hand of cards, or the wild card, if you will, from one color to another throughout the course of play. This creates arena combat skirmishes and makes the puzzle of how you actually approach the game a little bit backwards. Instead of just trying to carry and play the right card at the right time to make sure you can carry through the game puzzle, you're actually trying to take advantage of a single playing round. If someone plays down, let's say, a blue 8, and you happen to have a green 8 in your hand, do you save that for later bouts where you could potentially have the advantage over smaller numbers, or do you go ahead and play it, changing the suit and changing the puzzle that everyone else around the table is dealing with? Honestly, if you like trick-taking games, I think Gorus Maximus is worth checking out.
My number 4 is going to be Railroad Ink. And Railroad Ink comes in numerous colors. I chose blue because blue is the best color ever. But in Railroad Ink, you are going to be rolling dice and then creating your own map on the grid. You are going to be drawing roads and you're going to be drawing railroads. And each color presents a slightly different puzzle of what you are creating with the dice and what obstacles you're trying to avoid. In some of them, you're creating deserts and cacti, and some of them you're creating rivers and lakes and volcanoes, and each one presents a slightly different challenge. Your goal is to create the best map with the least open-ended areas and get the most points and win against your opponent. There's additionally going to be special different scoring objective cards in each game that will give you even more bonus points, and you're in a race with your opponent to see who can complete the objective first. And now for the next one.
Following in the realm of roll and write, in the roll and write genre, Rolling Realms is going to be my pick. It can play up to basically any number you'd like, assuming you have enough variations or versions of the game. And this, while it's not as thematic, is a heart and soul numbers puzzle, and I love it for it. You're going to be rolling 2 dice, gaining 2 different numbers, and assigning those numbers to various different thematic cards you have in front of you that represent other board games in the board game world or spectrum. Each of these puzzles have their own unique spin or twist of how you're applying the numbers, where you'll score points, and how you can try to maximize the resources that you have. I absolutely underwrote this game when I first saw it, and I have fallen in love with it in the roll and write genre. For under 25, this is one that just keeps giving. On top of that, if you're into golf, there is also a solo golf mode as well, where all you try to do is play a series of different matched cards and different set events, and you try to beat your score. Can you get under par, or at least match it? Because I certainly can't. Either way, Rolling Realms is worth checking out.
Last but not least is going to be Paris. And in Paris, this is a unique take on a polyomino puzzle. In Paris, you are first going to be setting up the board that you are going to be playing in before you actually lay down your polyomino pieces. The players take turns either grabbing a building piece or placing out these tiles to create the board that they will then build upon. Your goal is to try to create big sections of your own buildings that are adjacent to these lampposts and are illuminated. The variability in Paris is massive because because besides for how the board creates itself with each player placing down the tokens and the buildings that get placed, there's also going to be 8 different postcards that are involved in every single game. And the postcards provide unique pieces and special powers and abilities that break the game. There's also an expansion that you should definitely check out.
And my final game that you can get for under $25 is a game called D&D, which I know doesn't sound affordable, but remarkably enough, this starter set, the thing that began my journey into board games, is available for, when I checked, $13. That means you can go on an adventure, have everything you need to start drafting a character, learn the basic rules, and begin a campaign with your best friends, and it's all right here. This is not the only starter set either. There are tons of others. Now I know what you're thinking, and you're absolutely right. If you happen to get into D&D, it's gonna cost you way more than $25. But this is good for a few months or the beginning of a really incredible campaign. Shira, help! And with that, I hope you've enjoyed this series of our top 10 under $25 each. We sourced from our personal collection.
We did.
For all of this. We are working on a list for 10 under 10, which is going to be a lot of button shy, I feel.
Yep.
And we want to do the range. 25 to 75 or
25
50.
to 50, and then 50 to 100, and then above 100 up to 200.
If the series does well, I want to do like 10 games over $250 each that are actually worth it, and then a whole pile of them that just aren't. Either way, make sure you're subscribed. Let us know if you like the work that goes into this weird chaos that we're trying to call a board game YouTube channel. And with that,
whatever the case,
whatever you do,
remember to do the important thing.
get out and play some games.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.